Ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite Toronto Maple Leaf players of the 21st century, Darcy Tucker, has retired. He was born in 1975 in Castor, Alberta, and began his hockey career with the Kamloops Blazers in the 91-92 season, in which he played with them until the 94-95 season. And he won the Memorial Cup with them in 92, 94, and 95. He also won the Memorial Cup Stafford Smythe Trophy in 94 and was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the 93 June draft. He went 6th round, 151st overall, and in 95 he was with Team Canada in the World Junior Classics that brought home the gold to Canada, and he was also assigned to the Fredericton Canadiens in New Brunswick in 95, and he had an impressive year that year. He scored 29 goals, and he also won the Dudley Red Garrett Memorial Trophy. The year after that, he was on the Montreal Canadiens roster, but he only scored 8 goals in a period of 2 years with the Montreal Canadiens, and well, that wasn't really good enough for them to keep him, so they traded him to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But when he was with the Lightning, he married Shannon Corson, who he's still with now, and on February 3rd, Darcy Tucker played his 200th career game against the Washington Capitals. And in the 99-2000 season, halfway through that season, he was traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thus, the Darcy Tucker era as a Leaf began. And on February 12th, 2000, he began playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. In fact, he had his first shift on that game. And on February 23rd, 2000, he scored his first 2 goals with the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Phoenix Coyotes, and he played his 300th career game against the New York Islanders on March 22nd, 2000. Now, Darcy Tucker won fans over with his gritty play, and not just his goal-scoring abilities and his goals and points and all that, even though Darcy Tucker has been averaging over 20 goals a year with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but he won the fans over because he has one of the biggest hockey hearts I have ever seen, as well as a lot of fans have ever seen, including Don Cherry himself. Plus, he's been able to get into some incidents over his years with the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the 2002 season, when the Leafs were playing the Islanders in the playoffs, he hit Captain Mike Pekka, and he suffered a leg injury on his left knee because of that, and that quickly ended his season. But, that's okay, because the Islanders season was ended by the Toronto Maple Leafs shortly after that. And in the second round, Daniel Alfredson hit Darcy Tucker from behind and then scored on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and no penalty was called then. Therefore, Darcy Tucker was involved in an incident in which Leaf fans will pretty much hate Daniel Alfredson forever for. But Darcy Tucker's hockey heart, truculence, goal-scoring abilities has helped the Toronto Maple Leafs make the playoffs in 2003 and 2004. And even though they had a first-round exit in 2003, he was an instrumental player in eliminating the Ottawa Senators along with Matt Sundin, Gary Roberts, Joe Nieuwendyk in the 2004 season. Even though the Leafs didn't get past the second round because they were eliminated by the Philadelphia Flyers. Then came the lockout year, and then there was the 2005-2006 season in which Darcy Tucker had a career-high 28 goals in a single year, and it was great to see him that year. It was one of his best years yet. He got into a lot of fights with teams whose rivals are biggest, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and a lot of those players were players on the Ottawa Senators, even though they beat us 7 out of 8 times that year. But he also got into quite a few fights with the Montreal Canadiens players and beat them, especially players like Francois Bouillon and Alex Kovalev, who got into a fight last with Darcy Tucker before getting into a fight with Francois Beauchemin as an Ottawa Senator in this preseason. Now, one of my favorite games was my very first Toronto Maple Leaf game I ever went to. I saw Darcy Tucker score 2 goals against the New York Islanders. I also saw Alexei Yashin score against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Darcy Tucker scored 2 goals and earned him the first star of that game. And wow, that is one game I am never going to forget. Now, in the 2006-2007 season, this is one of the other seasons where he showed his true hockey heart. He was able to hit Zdeno Chara from behind and knock him down. And given how big Chara is, that is not an easy task to do. And so that was one thing that Leaf fans love seeing him do. And not only does he show heart on the ice, but he shows heart off the ice, as he is very protective of his teammates. And if you all remember the hit that Cam Jansen made on Thomas Caberlet in the 2006-2007 season, Darcy Tucker was right up against the boards, wanting to take a crack at Cam Jansen, and we all know that Wade Belak did later on. But I'm saying Darcy Tucker has one of the best hockey hearts in the game. Now, on June 24th of 2008, I think it was June 24th, 2008, Cliff Fletcher, the man who brought in Darcy Tucker to Toronto in the first place, decided to buy out his contract, and therefore he was an unrestricted free agent come July 1st of that year, and he signed a 2-year deal with Colorado, $4.5 million in total. And the year before Darcy Tucker left, he scored 18 goals in one season in the 2007-2008 season. And funny thing is, 18 goals was all he scored in his venue with Colorado. And then came October 1st, in which Darcy Tucker decided to retire. He has 2 sons named Colin Kane and one daughter named Owen. I think that's how her name is pronounced. But Darcy Tucker is currently trying to go into business with his agent Carlos Sosa to form a company called Turning Point Sports Player Management, in which they are trying to represent players of other NHL teams and players of other sports and other teams too. So Darcy Tucker, you will be missed. You have won the hearts of so many fans during your tenure with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We wish you well with everything, with all our hearts.